There has been a recent controversy surrounding the yoga club on campus. There are students saying that it's not right to practice yoga if you are not originally from the Hindu faith and from that origin. Do you think that practicing yoga is a form of cultural appropriation?
I wouldn't say that practicing yoga is a form of cultural appropriation.
Why should you have to be a part of that culture if you want to practice it? Absolutely no. I totally disagree.
Pretty much every culture commits cultural appropriation in some way or form. So, I mean, I don't think that we should think of yoga, thing that can be used for multiple purposes, as cultural appropriation.
I mean, first I'd want to know, who brought up the accusations of cultural appropriation, because obviously it's, a really severe issue. But if it was, white people who brought up the accusations, I'd want to, wonder why. But if it was people who, actually practice Buddhism or Hinduism, I'd take the accusations much more seriously.
If people who, felt like their culture was being appropriated talked to the club, and they didn't feel like they could work together to fix anything, then it's probably the best thing.
I think doing it for the physical reasons is okay, but not using it as a cultural tool. I think there needs to be that distinction.
When you're kind of mocking it, and I think that's when it becomes offensive.
Mm-hmm. So as long as nobody's mocking yoga, then it's not offensive?
Yeah, I would say that's not offensive.
I think that it depends on whether or not they're making it out to be a religious thing.
I think it's cultural appreciation as long as you do it mindfully.
Yeah, if you know, if you're aware of where it originates from, and you keep that in mind.
Somebody coming in from the outside and shutting it down because of concerns of something that, even if it was cultural appropriation, wouldn't have affected anyone outside of the club. I think it's a shame.
If everything is done correctly and with the right intentions, the club should be allowed to continue.
So where do you think that line is drawn between appropriating a culture and appreciating a part of it?
I think there's a line when it becomes offensive.
I think maybe the line is if you're adopting something else and putting it forward in a way that takes away from that culture.
I think that if they were trained and had a lot of practice in yoga with other trained people, then I don't think it's a problem, as long as they
Why should the guy next to you who's not a Hindu not be able to do this practice? So, yeah, definitely be more open to it and maybe make a great connection.
I really don't know what yoga is all about. I mean, there's a lot of stretching involved. But yeah, I don't think it would really offend anyone to stretch. But you never know.